WWE made it official this week that for the first time in history, the women will headline WrestleMania and will close out the show. It's the right call to make. The decision apparently came down. I find this intriguing. The decision apparently came down to the wire, not with the Daniel Bryan Kofi Kingston match, but with the Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar match for the Universal Championship. The fact that we even came that close to that match going on last is pretty scary. Because I don't know about you, and I know Brock is sort of the big champion in the company and all that. I get that. And he headlined last year against Roman Reigns, and we all know how that went. I don't expect this match to go nearly as badly as that one did. But it just feels like there's no real excitement around that match. Am I wrong? Is there this great palpable excitement for Seth Rollins against Brock Lesnar that I'm missing? Because it doesn't feel like it. The decision should not have come down to the wire at all. This decision should have been made at least a month ago. Despite all the topsy-turvy bullshit that they've done with the women's storyline, this was really the only way to go. And if you made an argument for any other match going on last, I believe that argument would not be for Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. It would be for Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan if Kofi is going to win the championship. That should have been the only decision. So that's kind of scary that it came down that close. As Paul O'Brien pointed out, Becky Lynch becomes the first non-North American star to ever compete in a WrestleMania main event, closing out the show. Second only, she is only second, to Andre the Giant. Of course, Andre headlined WrestleMania 3 against Hogan. Andre comes from France. And no, Yokozuna does not count. He was born in San Francisco, so I don't want to hear about Yokozuna. Becky Lynch is riding high right now. Pro Wrestling Sheet says she was offered a brand new contract earlier this month with a raise. It hasn't apparently been signed yet, but she's expected to sign it any day now. She should get a raise, especially if she's their top merchandise seller, which apparently she is. I saw Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. He said that she's been the top merch seller for a while now. This is not a new thing. You know, and when you think about Becky Lynch, her story is really something else. And I don't think they've done a very good job, frankly, of telling this story. I know they have their TV story. So their TV story is that Charlotte is handed everything and Becky has to scratch and claw and fight. And Becky, you know, the fans just this groundswell of support for her. And she won the Royal Rumble. And now all the bullshit she's had to go through in the last 2 months, right? Since the Royal Rumble. That's the story. Why not go back farther than that? Here's a woman who suffered a serious head injury in the ring in 2006 that was thought to be possibly the end of her career. You know how many matches she wrestled in the next 6 years after that head injury? In 6 years. You know how many matches? 3. She wrestled 3 matches in the next 6 years before she finally signed a developmental deal with WWE. Then she debuted, you remember that, dancing an Irish jig on the way to the ring. You had Dusty Rhodes. The last tweet that Dusty Rhodes ever posted before he died said, Becky Lynch, top 5 star of the last 5 years, max number 1. That was over 3 years before she attacked Charlotte after their match at SummerSlam and her big push really took off. Dusty was a prophet. Now that SummerSlam thing was meant to be a heel turn, but that's not how the fans took it. Then came the punch from Nia Jax, and that really just sealed the deal and put her over the top. That Rousey match, in hindsight, being canceled for Survivor Series was the best thing that could have ever happened to her. I fully believe that this WrestleMania main event is Ronda Rousey one-on-one against Charlotte Flair. That's the match. If the Survivor Series match with Ronda and Becky goes off as planned, I don't believe we're sitting here talking about a 3-way for the Women's Championship. And here she is now, the first woman to headline WrestleMania and probably winning. She should win. I don't think there could be any other outcome here but Becky Lynch winning. So she's got a brand new contract, big pay raise, top merch seller. It's a great story. Only problem is, of course, there's nowhere for her to go but down, right? This is what always happens when you have somebody in her position. Unless you're a Stone Cold and, you can just maintain popularity for the rest of your life. Problem is, there's nowhere for her to go but down. I'm waiting for all of these fickle fans to turn on her like they do everybody else until the next woman comes along and they get behind her and they start booing Becky. Joan Jett is going to perform Bad Reputation live and sing Ronda Rousey to the ring at WrestleMania. One of the things that depressed me this week was the number of people I saw online making comments like, "Who's Joan Jett?" Joan Jett, for the uninformed, is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if you've ever heard the song I Love Rock and Roll, you've likely heard the version that she and the Blackhearts recorded back in the 80s. They didn't write the song, but they sang the most popular version of it. Now I'm going to get emails from people telling me, no, Solomonster, that's a Britney Spears song. That'd be like somebody telling me Stone Cold didn't popularize the Stunner. That's a Kevin Owens move. Fuck off.